So there is a new £200 bank switching deal from Nationwide, and there's actually the potential to get it more than once if you're in a couple, potentially £600 up for grabs. But, and this is really unusual compared to all the switching deals I'm telling you about in the past, this is only available to existing customers. That is existing customers who were a member of some kind with Nationwide before the 31st of March 2024. Now, there are a number of ways you can be eligible as a member, and I'll take you through those in a second. And then I'll take you through the switching deal itself. But also, there is Nationwide's fairer payment this year, £100 for some existing customers again, and also access to an exclusive savings rate, which is pretty good, an 18-month fixed deal. So I'll take you through all of that as well. But first of all, let's talk about the switching deal itself. Now, this is, as a part of their kind of fairer sharer kind of scheme where they're doing this for loyal customers, effectively rewarding people who are already with them rather than people who come in and jump off, like many of us are with many of these switching deals. So in order to be eligible just in the first place for this deal, you need to have one of the following. Okay, so a Nationwide current account, which can be the Flex Plus, the Flex Direct, the Flex Account, the Flex Basic, the Flex Graduate, the Flex Student, or the Flex One. If you have any of those accounts already, you're sorted. You'll be eligible to do this. If you don't have a current account, that's fine. You might have a savings account. As long as that is a personal savings account or a cash ISA, again, you'll be able to open up one of the eligible accounts, which we'll get to in a second, and go through the switch. It will not count for any business savings accounts. It will not count for any investment accounts. And also, if you currently have a savings account for somebody else, like a child, then the person, you are the one who are eligible, not the other person, okay? And also, if you don't have a savings account or a current account, you can still be eligible with a mortgage, a qualifying mortgage. And that basically is any residential mortgage. Doesn't matter what one it is, you're going to be absolutely fine. Basically, it just can't be buy-to-let, lifetime, through a subsidiary, because there are a couple of other places where you could get effectively a Nationwide Building Society, but it doesn't say Nationwide Building Society mortgage. And the application has to have completed. So you can't be like part way through the application, had to have completed by that date of the 31st of March 2024. If all of those are kind of in play, right, then it's about how to actually get that switching deal. Of course, don't forget, over at becleverwithyourcash.com/banks, we've got more details on all the different switching deals, the full analysis, so you can get more information there if you want to. So the actual switching deal itself, so how do you get this one? Well, there is one very, very important criteria, eligibility criteria, I do need to throw into this as well. You cannot have already received a switching bonus from Nationwide since August the 18th, 2021. So that's really, really important date. Now, as I'll get to in a minute, because it's about personal and joint accounts potentially, you can get the offer on both. That might mean you've had it on one but not the other, then you can do it on the account rather than the person, okay? So it's about if you've had an account that's had it in the past, then you cannot get it again for that particular account. Right. So what is the deal itself? So £200, which is really good. A lot of the deals we've seen recently have been a lot lower than that. So really nice to see one back up at a healthy amount of money. Only open, obviously, if you're to existing and qualifying Nationwide members, as we've already established. Now, then, in order to get it, you obviously need a bank account. It's a bank switching deal, right? So if you don't already have the Flex Plus, the Flex Direct, or the Flex account, then you need to open one up. So if you don't have a current account at all with Nationwide, you've got a savings account or mortgage, you must open these up. And if you've got a different current account, you must open it. If you've already got it, that's fine. You don't need to do anything new. You've already got it. Once that account is open, or if you've already got it, then you need to do a bank switch, as we do with all of these kind of deals when we talk about them. That is a full switch, not a partial switch, a full switch from an old bank, from a different bank account, and you must close that old bank account as part of the switch. Now, this switch has to take place within 28 days. Okay, so you open the account, start the switch, you've got effectively a month for that to go through. If you do it after that, then you won't be eligible. So make sure that date that you set it for is within 28 days. You also have to, as part of that switch, transfer over 2 direct debits. They must switch over these direct debits, and they must be active direct debits. These direct debits, for an active direct debit to be paid out, if you haven't got one on the old account already that comes through, there are some quick ones you can set up. I've written about it on Be Clever With Your Cash. I've done a video about it on the YouTube channel. The ones I tend to look at are things like PayPal or Plum or Moneybox, which can be quite fast direct debits. They are paid out of your account quite quickly. Other ones, sometimes it can take a month for that to come through. So check that out if you don't have any direct debits on the old account that you are switching through. Do all of that, switch through, and then the money is yours. Within 10 days of all of that happening, you are going to be getting that money into your account. Now, let's talk about what it's about. Hang on, that's one switch, right? That's £200 for, let's say it's your personal account, right? Now, if you have already had the money for that personal account switch and deal, you can't do it again. But if you haven't already switched a joint account as well, then you can do that, and vice versa. And of course, if you've not done it at all since that cutoff date, then you can do it on both a personal and a joint account. And if you're doing a joint account, then that means that your partner is probably already a member. Again, everyone has to be a member. One person needs to be a member of the Nationwide in order to do this. That's potentially £600 you can get. So it's a really good opportunity if you haven't already done this, because obviously this has happened a few times before. Now, importantly, on that joint account thing, just worth saying here, if you are a member and your partner isn't a member, and you then open up a new joint account in order to switch into it from a different bank, that is fine. But if they aren't a member, they can't then obviously, as of 31st of March 2024, as per that qualification at the top, they cannot then open up a solo account. So that would just mean you get £400 maximum between the two of you. Again, if you're already both existing members, you already have a joint account perhaps, then you can obviously take advantage, again, as long as you haven't had that previous criteria. So I would certainly say absolutely give this one a go. It's been a while since they've offered something. If you are opening up a new account, I would suggest you go for the Flex account, which is the standard free account that they offer, because you don't necessarily need all the extra features. The Flex Direct does have 5% interest on up to £1,500 for the first 12 months, which sounds good, but it's a bit of a waste right now because you can easily get 5%. Well, not easily, it's getting harder and harder, but you can get 5% on higher balances elsewhere. So I would save the Flex Direct, save this offer for when maybe other rates have disappeared and maybe this is still going strong. So I would generally avoid that. The only exception is it does give a pretty sizable interest-free overdraft instead for 1 year only. And that might be useful if you do have an expensive overdraft that you do want to clear. So that's the switching offer. Well worth having a look at it. As I said, more details over at becleverwithyourcash.com. But there are, as I said, some other parts to this kind of current promotion. And the first one here is this idea, the Nationwide Fairer Share payment. And they did this a year ago as well. And this is a way of basically, they've done well over the last 12 months. They've got some profits. And because they are member owned effectively, if you're a customer, you are effectively an owner of Nationwide, unlike some of the big banks, you are able to, they want to give that out, share that out a little bit. Buy these payments, these £100 payments. Now, again, you only get this if you are an eligible customer. And I'll take you through quickly what that means. So you have to have an active kind of current account. And I'll take you through the criteria for those current accounts in a second. And a savings account or a mortgage. So current account and savings, or current account and mortgage, again, with criteria attached to each of those. So I'll take you through it. The criteria for the current account that you have to have depends which one it is. So if you have the Flex Plus, which is the one that has the insurance to come with it, all you need to do is pay that monthly fee. If you're paying that monthly fee every single month, between January and March 2024, that is tick. If you have the Flex One, the Flex Student, or the Flex Graduate account, then you must have received at least one payment into your account during March 2024. So that's one thing. It's easier to do that, I guess, because that's people who are students. They're less likely to have things going out. But if you are the Flex account, the Flex Direct, or the Flex Basic, which are the key accounts here, then you need to do more. So you need to, in January, February, or March of 2024, you need to have received at least £500 into your current account in 2 of those 3 months. It could be January, February, January, March, March and February. Okay, so 2 of those 3 months, £500 must have gone into that account. Plus, you need to have made at least 2 payments out of the account, again, in 2 of those 3 months. Alternatively, if you haven't had money going into it, you could instead just make 10 payments out of the account every month in 2 of those 3 months. So this is where people, if you use it as your main current account, which is what they're rewarding here, people who use it as a regular bank, they're going to be absolutely fine. That's not going to be a problem for you. But then you need to have either an additional savings account or mortgage with them. Now, in terms of the savings account, this one must have had a total of £100 or more in any of their cash savings accounts by March 2024. This is the cash savings accounts, right? A savings account. So an ISA is fine, a regular saver is fine, fixed account, an easy access, whatever it might be. sadly, a lot of people may have I talked about that 5% rate on that Flex Direct account. That is a current account you're keeping the money in. That doesn't count. You need to have had a separate account. Now, if it's a mortgage, again, you need to have had at least £100 owing on it on the 31st of March 2024. If you do these things, okay, if those are eligible, most things, you will get £100 this summer in the kind of mid-June, somewhere between the 13th and 28th of June 2024. That will be added to your account. Now, what's important to know about this £100, which is different to that £200 bank switching bonus, they are treating this as interest. Therefore, it will count towards your personal savings allowance when it comes to tax. And if you are over your PSA, £1,000 for basic taxpayers, £500 for high rate taxpayers, nothing for additional rate taxpayers, you'll be paying tax on anything above those limits. This obviously, with higher rates where they are right now, this could push you above that. But still, it's still free money. It's better than nothing. Now, this is roughly the same criteria for this annual reward as it had last year. So if you have missed out this year, and I understand people were angry last year for missing out because they might have been new having a mortgage for a long time but not had a current account, or might have had a lot of savings but again not used the current account properly, then potentially if the criteria remains the same next year, we don't know if it will remain the same next year, then maybe in January, February and March of next year, make a note to do some of the things that have been said on there. Make a couple of transactions out of payments out of your account, transfer some stuff in, make sure you have a savings account with some money in there. So you may well then be eligible for that payment in 12 months' time. I didn't do that this year, so I'm not eligible this year. So maybe maybe that's something I should have done. Maybe something I'll do that next year. But it's definitely something to think about. Now, there's one last part that's worth sharing as part of this kind of membership exclusive offers that Nationwide have just released. And this one is a savings account. It pays 5.5% and it is an 18-month fix. And this one has a slightly different eligibility criteria because you need to be a membership of Nationwide, same things we mentioned before, current account, savings account or mortgage, as on the 22nd of May 2024. So if you have only joined in April or May, you missed out on those other ones, but potentially you can take advantage of this. It is a very good rate. You will not get anywhere close to this with any of the other fixed rate savings. The top 1 year is 5.2 and everything else below that starts driving down. So if you can afford to lock money away for 18 months, this is well worth considering. There is a cap though, maximum of £10,000 that you can save in there. And something to consider as well, I haven't actually looked into this in detail, is when will the interest be paid? Is it going to be accessed every single month, or is it all in one lump sum at the end of the 18 months? Because obviously that makes a difference in terms of which financial year it comes into for tax purposes. So that's something definitely to just double check that when you are applying. But overall, I think this is good for a good move from Nationwide to be rewarding customers. Yes, frustrating for some people who might have missed out, who are got some accounts but don't use all of them. But certainly, like I said, maybe think ahead to next year. They keep doing this so you can take advantage. More information over at becleverwithyourcash.com across all 3 of those different parts of the offer. So do check that out if you need more information. In the meantime, check out these videos here for more ways to make the most from your bank.